And welcome back, StarCraft 2 fans, to another StarCraft 2 commentary by Negative Space. Here I am spawning as Terran player. My ally Paladin spawning as Zerg. Our opponents, Killex spawning as Zerg. And Gonsu Bono spawning as Protoss. Going to be playing on High Orbit. Definitely, probably our favorite map. As I've been speaking about our favorite maps a little bit here and there recently, especially since actually by the time I'm casting this, the new maps have been released, and I got mixed feelings about some of the new maps. Sorry about that, especially some of them still being in the rotation and some not. So not all my favorite maps, some of the maps I haven't liked as much stayed in the rotation, and some of my favorite ones have been replaced. So this probe going to be scouting, getting in here. Some players like to scout early, some don't. I am of the not so much group. I like to scout with an early unit rather than a worker. Getting in here is probably interested, since he's scouting, I'm sure he's interested in just seeing the build order, not really any other point unless it is to harass, since it is a probe. Catch us off guard, may be able to get away with an SCV kill, something like that. Just scouts the Zerg player. Perhaps he's interested in seeing if we were trying something like an early expansion or not. Maybe he saw this drone move out. Maybe I thought we were doing an early expansion, moving over here to scout that. And looks like just going to dance around a little bit, harass the probe a little bit, and he does try to put down a pylon, trying to probably was thinking we were going to expand, but instead cancels it. I'm not exactly sure why he canceled it. Probably would have been better to let that finish if we were actually going to expand. My brother not going to expand, going to put down a Roach Warren. Could possibly be trying to do an early Roach push, or just have the units available as a possibility. Enemy, the Zerg player now trying to get a probe up here, trying to scout with that, so Brain's going to stop that rather easily. That probe, that drone being quite a bit late, does get some good vision on here. Could be interested in knowing I'm going to be building 3 racks, 3 barracks. Getting down, now opponent going down his own Roach Warren. Perhaps not really sure why it's that delayed. Maybe it's because he got an evolution chamber first, working on +1 ranged upgrade. Protoss player only getting 3 gateways down so far. Working on that warp gate technology, now chrono boosting that out. A few roaches, how much is it? About 4 roaches complete for my ally. Always good to make sure you're controlling this watchtower and having a scout some sort of vision on these backdoor rocks. Make sure nothing sneaks up on you. There's some more roaches, just now complete. Going to get a good number of roaches, and my supporting army move in here, try to do some scouting, maybe get lucky and do some significant damage. And even while moving out, macroing my units, still getting a decent number of macro here at the main base, but not so much. Could be using this energy on the orbital command, could be building a command center to be able to expand with while our units are pushing out. And they get in here, our units get in here, try to do some damage take out a lot of the initial army. These spine crawlers were trying to go down after spotting our army with that overlord that was hovering over the watchtower. Actually just cancels that spine crawler at the last second. Roaches here holding off our opponent's roaches. Marines just going beeline for the overlords. They must be overlord hungry right there. Kite some of the zealots, kiting some of the roaches back while they're taking shots from my allies' roaches. Able to take down that set of roaches and able to really focus back on these overlords, since my ally roaches aren't able to attack air. But more armored, more hit points to be able to defend against those zealots. Holding the zealots back. A few more marines here, chasing down these overlords. Will this overlord go down? And yes, he does. So zealots spawning just barely too late to be able to save that overlord. Got, how much was that? About 4 overlords so far. Definitely supply blocking this player. Only making 1 overlord to compensate so far. Able to macro up more at home still. Did not build tech add-ons, any tech labs or reactors on any of these barracks usually, but instead just pumped out more marines. Usually while pushing out, I will make the add-ons while pushing out, and then either research the upgrades and have them ready right before I engage, or have them at least be researching after the battle's over, so that I can get a significant number of units to be able to attack with, and then work on the upgrades while I already have enough units to be able to hold off the opponent if they push, or to push against the opponent. And now working on these rocks, building a command center to be able to expand. My ally expanding as well. After doing quite a bit of damage to our opponents, we know they're probably not going to push out with a very large force anytime soon. Just going to take down those destructible debris to be able to move a command center in there. Control the watchtower, a somewhat defensive position. In some cases, actually with their charge lots, being able to hack down some of my marines before I'm able to react. They fall back a little bit, probably don't want to run into a whole army while Zerg splits off. Starting to do some damage to this hatchery here on the left. Protoss player controlling this watchtower. Trying to watch to see if we move out to try and save that expansion. But I wait for a few more minutes, just a little while to be able to get out some more units, able to take out those zealots even without stim. I knew they must have still been down there. Roach is able to actually finish off that hatchery. I actually went the wrong way, should have definitely gone to the left, try to keep those roaches from escaping. And meanwhile, also during that time, my ally able to make some mutilisks, able to come back here and do some harassment, able to see the expansion timing. Protoss wanting to expand over there. Our opponent making down some more spine crawlers, probably afraid we might counter push before he's able to make up another large enough army. The opponent actually making a pylon within the Zelnaga Watchtower sight range. Probably definitely should have put it over here on the side, perhaps even up on the cliff to be able to warp onto the lower ground. Mutilisks just locking down that expansion, moving over here to do some harassment in the main. Did some damage to that spore crawler before it completed. Took down only one drone. Yet still doing some damage to the players, keeping them, now that they're aware of those mutilisks, that's what they're going to have to, that's what's going through their head, making them worry now. Expansion going down. Protoss player did have stalkers, could have moved over here to try and save it especially with the spore crawlers over here, probably would have deterred the Mutalisks from coming inside of the main base. But now they choosing to move out a little bit. Perhaps they still want to expand, maybe want to take this high yield as well, as my ally is repositioning his Mutalisks to the left side of the map. You've watched the mini map. Zergling's moving in here, probably knows these spine crawlers are here. Not good. Not would have been good to harass the Zerg player. Coming in here, trying to get some probes, yet the Zealots were here. But instead, the probes run right into the Mutalisks. Mutalisks able to get a few more worker kills before the Protoss player able to react. Didn't have a whole lot of resources saved up to be able to warp in the Stalkers to be able to warp them next to the Mutalisks. Alright, I'm getting up a little bit of defenses. Finally able to take down that Overlord, which was sitting over there for some reason. 49 out of 50 supply, basically supply blocking the Zerg player again. Definitely going to fortify this position, keep them from being able to move into my expansion. And here, controlling the watchtower and having a siege tank in this position, definitely don't want to move on this position. They stayed inside siege tank range to move around this gap, try to engage the army. Planetary fortress here, they could have scouted, not engaged, and they're going to leave, and then they leave the game. I don't think they needed to leave the game. I don't think they needed to make an all-in push right there. With a good number of Stalkers, this player making a few Hydralisks, just getting the Hydralisk den out, with my ally having, really my ally only had 5 Mutalisks at that point. And they could have expanded here, they could have still expanded here. Protoss could have kept his Stalkers at his expansion, made a cannon or two in the main base just to scare away any Mutalisk harassment in the main, and then warp in Stalkers wherever the Mutalisks try to pop up. Zerg player could have, he didn't actually have any creep spread at all to be able to make the Hydralisks able to maneuver around, and they could have, I think they could have still expanded, tried to protect those expansions, and still could have tried to make a significant army later in the game to be able to try and pull it out. But that's going to be it for this game. I hope you liked it. Make sure to comment or thumbs up or subscribe if you would like to, or if you like what you see. And I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you come back, or see you next time.